Hey guys, my name's Kevin. Welcome to Comparison Cooking, the show to challenge sous vide versus traditional cooking. I'm sure you've all seen sous vides kind of exploded lately. There's a great channel called Sous Vide Everything. They make phenomenal food. I've never seen a show that makes my mouth water on YouTube before. They do a phenomenal job. But I want to know, there's a lot of work that goes into sous vide. So is it easier to sous vide or do a traditional cook? On the grill, on the smoker, on the pan. I love my cast iron pan. It sears steaks perfectly. So let's challenge and let's start a show that we can try out all these experiments, because I know there's a lot of people hearing sous vide, sous vide, sous vide. It was a huge gift for this past Christmas. Why don't we challenge it? But I gotta admit, I've done a couple recipes already. It's pretty amazing, but let's put it to the test. Let's go. For today's cook, we are going to cook up some top roast. 2 or 3 times a year, I'll grab a top roast just because I'm always a sucker for a good deal at the store. And you can make really good roast beef, thin slice, and cook this up very well. So it is a fun meat to play with. It's not something I get on a regular basis. I'm more of a ribeye guy. But if you get a vacuum sealer, one of the coolest things I've had so far since getting the sous vide has to be the vacuum sealer. You can buy meat in bulk, cut it up, prepare it ahead of time, and then vacuum seal it and freeze it. It's a lot of fun. It's like you're a at-home butcher, and it just really creates this meat experience, a better cooking experience when you buy in bulk and really get to craft your masterpieces. So I already used these 3 weeks ago, but I was able to freeze these because we had 2 or 3 weeks where our weekends were packed and we weren't gonna be able to shoot the video. So this one, we are doing sous vide style. We're gonna do 4 to 6 hours at 140 degrees. Then I'm gonna cut this one in half and I'm gonna smoke it on my Traeger for a few hours after we sear it at about 450 degrees. And then on the last section, I'm going to traditional roast it in the oven. So let's get right to it. Good morning, everyone. As you just saw, my smoker is covered with snow. So we had to switch it up, and what I decided to do is vacuum seal another cut of the top round roast, and I'm gonna do a 24-hour cook on that. So we're gonna be trying that tomorrow. I didn't really prepare as well as I thought for this sous vide challenge. A lot of people post online that they cook these top round roasts for 24 hours. And when I started to prepare, I was like, oh boy, we gotta eat in 6 hours. So what we're doing is we're gonna keep the one in the oven and we're gonna go against the 6-hour top round roast as a side-by-side comparison. Then tomorrow, we'll have a second video to see if we can taste the difference from that 24-hour cook, and did it make a lot of difference in sous vide versus sous vide. So we did 3 different experiments with this cut of meat, and the results were actually shocking. Unfortunately, we didn't record the results in live time, but I will go through them with you now because everything is the rage on sous vide currently, and you would think sous vide would be the best way to cook this. But when we went to the party and we brought the traditional cook, as you can tell, there's very little left. It was by far the favorite out of traditional oven roasted. This was a 5-hour sous vide, and then this was a 24-hour sous vide cook. Now, highlights from this cook and things to note. The reason this was really good was because of this, right? If you don't have a remote thermometer you can use while cooking a roast in the oven, you're setting yourself up for failure. I've cooked roast before all the time where I have no pink and it cooks through way too much because I follow the recipe to a T. The recipe called for 2 to 3 hours of cook. My oven runs hot. This thing was done in about an hour and 5 minutes. Now, the other thing is the texture of both of these were identical, but people tended to like the traditional roast better because of the flavor popped more. The salt, the pepper, the garlic powder, everything hit more up front. Sous vide was phenomenal, just like the original roast. People loved them both. It had a slower, beefier taste, which was good, but people just tended to like the more pop right up front with this cook. The weirdest part of this whole thing was it's important to let your meat settle even after you sous vide and put it in the oven to get that sear on it. Because when we tried the food, the things that had rested originally weren't as good, but by the time all 3 meats had rested, a traditional roast won. But this 24-hour roast, there's something about it. It melts in your mouth. Like when you bite, you don't feel like you do with these 2 others, where you're actually chewing on a piece of meat. It is softer. It just came, you just chewed it like bread. It was just very soft and it was very flavorful. But it still didn't have that right up front boom that led everybody to like the traditional roast. So I would say, for the sake of convenience, an hour and 5 minutes cooking this probably takes the cake and everybody liked the taste better. But this is something neat, the 24-hour cook, to experiment with because it's just hard to describe when you're chewing it. It tastes great and it melts in your mouth. So this was our first challenge. It was quite the production to get it all together, and we're gonna have some new challenges. If you have any thoughts on what you'd like to see sous vide challenge versus traditional oven roast or barbecue, please let us know in the comments. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe and turn on your notifications for future videos. Thank you and have a great day.